With every breath, a promise to rise. Together we chase the limitless skies. Galvanize the world, feel the mold of my life. Every healthy choice, it feels so right. Data in our hands, we hold the key. A future built on trust and integrity. Galvanize the world, feel the light. With every healthy choice, it feels so right. Data in our hands, we hold the key. A future built on trust and integrity.
Well, hello to all you Galvanators out there. Byron Belka here with the crew today. Once again, it's that time of the week, Tuesday, our Galvanators Unite call. Wherever you're tuning in from, excited to have you, excited to be able to be on this call with you every week as we look at things that are going on in our community, what's going on in the world, and how those two things are colliding to be a benefit for generations to come. So, as we're getting started, we talked a little bit, last Monday about this being the start of the month. Hopefully you have your goals in place and you have your plan of action on what you want to accomplish this month. Because as you notice, what happened to August? August went like that. It just went by so fast. And the same thing is going to happen, I believe, the rest of the year. But the timing that we have right now is critical. The window that we have to make a difference, where the biggest shift that, according to some economists, we're going to see over the next decade is taking place right now, when we're going from centralized to decentralized, to a few owning to people owning and controlling their futures. And this blockchain of Galvan that we have, that's all about health and wellness, decentralizing, giving people the power to own their own medical records, their own health journey, is really, really key, especially as we're trying to help heal humanity out there. So a lot of great things to get into and talk about today. And wherever you're at, hopefully you're seeing and feeling this sense of urgency that right now it is time to act. For things to change, it's going to be this community that changes it. And so I'm thrilled to be able to be a part of this community and see all the directions that we're going in. And we're going to talk about a few of those today. So as we get into this, make sure that you're thinking not just what this can mean for you, but what it can mean for people in your community or people that you want to invite to be part of this community because of everything that's going on. So let's hop into today's call. And we're going to start off like we love to with our own Dr. Sharp, and be able to turn some time over to him for some tips and some education. Dr. Sharp, thank you so much for being here. We'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Byron. And hello, all. Excited to be here today. And actually, as I think about what to share, I just started a new book, and I think it is specifically relevant to ways that we can be healthier and find kind of joy and happiness and making it look effortless. So if maybe some of you have read this as well, and maybe you have your own ideas, you can throw those in the comments if you do. But I want to talk a little bit about this book. I read the first book from Greg McKeown, which I liked, called Essentialism, talking about how it's important that we focus on the essential components of our life, and in particular, our health, that we'll talk a little bit about. But in this book, he talks about there is power in pairing our most enjoyable activities, the things that we enjoy most, with our most essential ones. Sometimes essential ones can feel like drudgery. If you don't love exercise, getting up to go do it can feel just painful. And it's interesting how, pairing it with something that you really enjoy, that you don't have to work towards, can make it feel effortless. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today, so that each of us can make healthy look effortless, and it can be more enjoyable. This is my list. We kind of separate in G+, as you know. We talk about mind, body, and soul. And if I were to create, a list of things that we are in total control of, we really are in control of if we want to move and exercise, what time we go to bed and what time we wake up, and what we put into our bodies, our nutrition and hydration. I think those are pillars for our body. We also know that that's not sufficient, that our minds are a key to our well-being. And so we have to have intellectual growth. We like reading or studying or or learning about different things. But whatever that is, I think that's an important component of being healthy. And then obviously our emotional well-being, our relationships with others have been shown to be maybe the most important component in providing actual well-being for people. And then soul, I put in here, we have goals and different things that you can set, but that's your purpose and your spiritual fulfillment. How is it that you find purpose in all of these things, in the whole? What's a reason to be healthy? Why is that important? If we don't have a purpose, then sometimes we don't even those things don't matter, or the essential things aren't even essential because we haven't found our purpose yet. So these are the essential behaviors. Some of them are easier than others. And so, I'm going to talk a little bit about how maybe those things that are hard for us, how we might be able to make it a little bit easier to do those things. And that comes into identifying the things that we enjoy, the things that we love. So this is an exhaustive list. We could go through and list, hopefully an infinite number of things that we enjoy doing. I put some of my favorites. Eating is my favorite thing, maybe. Listening to music. I put in here, my wife and I went it's our anniversary's in April, but we couldn't get tickets in April. And so we got tickets to go see the Eagles at the Sphere in Las Vegas. And it was amazing. So fun. I highly recommend it. I'm not paid by Sphere and I'm not much of a gambler and don't drink. So the Sphere was a fun activity for me to do in Vegas, but find things you enjoy. And now we're going to talk about these are easy. I hope these are easy for you to identify, whether that's getting outside, traveling, socializing with your friends. Hopefully this is an easy list to find. The important part is, how do we combine the things we enjoy most with the essential parts of life? And that's in this book. That's the part that's effortless. If there's two circles, you can imagine one's essential and one's enjoyable. Where they meet in the middle, those things become effortless. And that's really what we want to do. And so, here's a few examples of things that you may think about. If you love socializing, but you don't love cooking healthy meals, or you don't love cooking at all, doing it with family and friends just makes it far more enjoyable. I find I say I don't like cooking, but the reality is I really do enjoy it, as long as I've set aside time to do it. If I'm in a rush and I want things to be done faster than they can be, and I either overdo or underdo the cooking, it's not terribly enjoyable. But when I spend time with family and friends, it's far more enjoyable. Speaking of exercise, I've got my exercise playlist and I love it. It is a key component. I love my protein shake after my workout, so I look forward to that, and I look forward to listening to the music. Or sometimes if I'm riding my bike, I'll listen to a podcast, and I combine things that I enjoy, and then I find that it's far easier to do some of these things. So you get the idea here. The idea is combining the essential things that we need to do for our health. Sleep, reward yourself, give yourself something that you really enjoy. As a part of the essential components that we need to do to be healthy. So this is just in summary. I hope that each of you think a little bit about the things that you enjoy, a little bit about the things that you already know that can make you healthy, and combine them. Find a way to make them easier. Add some joy. This is something that I am learning at this stage of life, and it is so meaningful and makes things far easier. I think I grew up being kind of taught, and my strategy for success was just grind some more. If things aren't going well, just work harder, just do it longer, just do it more diligently. And that helps, right? Like, there are things that we should be some more diligent in, but there are easier, much more sustainable, much more enjoyable, much more effortless ways to go about being healthy. And that's what Galvan's all about. We are here to help you make the essential health decisions easier. And I think that's part of what it means to do things effortlessly. It's not that it doesn't require effort. It's that if you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like drudgery. And so I hope with that, you've thought of a few things that will make your life healthier and more enjoyable, so that we can go about and galvanize the world to heal humanity. So with that, I am going to turn the time over to Robert. Robert, you can take it away.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here. We are going to do a product tip here. So if all of you have a moment, open your G Plus app. Let's take a little bit of a tour. Listening to Dr. Sharp reminded me of Gallup, the survey engine people that go out and survey the world. They have a survey out there that shows that if you are engaging in the things that you are most passionate about every day, it will be a positive result for you and it will be sustainable. So find a job, find a habit, find a, a hobby that you are passionate about, and it will do wonders for your life. Last week, we talked about energy. What we have done this week is we've actually released a new badge. So, just in summary, if we look at energy, which is one of the components from your wellness check, if we go into the vitals, you can see where energy plays a role, right? And so we mentioned that energy has three subcomponents to it, right? The power, the speed, and the dynamics. If you look at your day, of the week, you can see where your averages are for energy. So for instance, in this account, you can see their average is 50, and today they were at 53, which is a component of power being high, speed being a little lower than average, and dynamics being high. So they were right there. And as you can see in this account, they're pretty consistent on their energy level. And the month, the 6 month, you can see energy in this account is very consistent and they've got a handle on it. The other thing and the other place that will give you a little bit of a tip on how your energy levels are doing is if you go into this in the bottom right, we have the hamburger menu in the teal color. One of the options there you'll notice in the middle is PRs, your personal records. If you go into there, highlight the mind, and then scroll down, we track a number of different streaks on your wellness check. And so you can see the second to the bottom one says energy in range best streak. So how many days in a row have you, what's your best streak ever for hitting the normal to better levels of energy from your wellness streak? On this account, you can see it's 100. The unique thing is compared to mood and stress, mood is 21 is their best streak, stress is 23, and all in the range is 15. And so with that background, let's introduce you to the new badge. So if I scroll down from the home page and I go into my badge page, I can see all, and I have got, you can see right down here in the bottom, if I put my finger on it, we call it the Roadrunner badge. I don't know if many of you are familiar with the cartoon for Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, but it seemed like Roadrunner had a never-ending supply of energy. And that's kind of where that name came from for that badge. But for our streak, and you'll see the flame in there, so you know that this energy, the Roadrunner badge, is a streak badge. And so if we go into the details on it by just pressing on it, it will take you into it. And then, of course, at the top, it shows you the various levels of rarity. And then it will show you the streak badge. It'll show you the progress bar. You can see on this one, it's day one of the progress bar. And for everyone starting today, we just introduced it today. This is a test account, so it's got some data in it. But you can see if you, from your wellness check, are in the normal to better range for energy, you will have 1 of 1 for today. And so 4% there, the 4% is based on getting to your next levels of rarity, excuse me. And so then you can earn the common, followed by the uncommon in 14 days. So 7 days for common, 14 days for uncommon, and then rare, you will earn in 21 days or 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we get 35 days for the epic, and then at 49 days, you can earn the legendary. And it's really good to remember that we only earn the common and uncommon once, and then we can continue to rotate through the rare, epic, and legendary. So for instance, if this one, it looks like this one is showing that on July 22nd, it earned the legendary, and so it will recalibrate, and then 21 days later, they can earn the rare badge. And so again, we have introduced into the system a new badge called the Roadrunner Streak Badge. I am looking forward to seeing how everyone does on their energy levels. With that, I'll go back to the home page. I think we have covered everything. So with that, I will turn center stage over to the one and only Casey. Casey, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Robert. Okay, so I'm excited today because on Friday, we sent out our first distribution for the digital gym memberships. So keep in mind that is if you had the epic, legendary, or common, you had to submit at least 8, 12, or 15 submissions. If you guys remember, this is on the Galvan.health website. If you're not sure where to find it, scroll down here. It just says submit gym proof. And then you do have to submit your proof of gym membership, either once a month or once a year, depending on what type of membership you have. And then your proof of gym attendance. That does have to be submitted each time. The first month that you purchase your gym membership, you only have to submit one time to qualify. So all those people that have been submitting and they purchased in August, for September, you do have to meet the minimum of 8 for common, 12 for epic, and 15 for legendary. But you can fill out this form and submit it. When we send you the tokens that you've earned, if you go into your app.galvan.health account and click wallet, you will see those listed under the Eyes rewards, not under this Galvan Eyes section. That's your ERC20 tokens. So you can click into this Eyes rewards, and then you'll be able to see the transaction history, and you'll be able to see, you'll get a line just like this one. It says received, and it will show the amount that you received. If you have any questions on any of that, always hit this support button. It'll take you over to our support page. You can search for the different FAQs there. You can submit a request to us. But we've already seen more submissions coming in for September and more purchases of the gym memberships. So keep those coming in and we'll get them rewarded. The other thing to remind you of is if you take your Eyes rewards, if you take your USDT, USDC, or your Ethereum and swap them for the Eyes rewards, just send us your hash and you are entered to win the weekly drawing. We've got a winner that we're going to be picking today. So with that, I will turn it back over to Byron and let me know if you guys have any other questions.
Back there we go. I was frozen for a second, Case. I heard you and I couldn't push that. So anyway, thank you so much for that. I love seeing people be rewarded for those gym memberships, for going out and doing that. It really is crazy when people understand how this can work and how Galvan really is rewarding people for those healthy actions, for those healthy activities. And, I wanted to stress first and foremost how important it is just to create the action, to go out there and do. And I remember years ago, this seems like forever ago, but I remember when I came in contact with my first mentor and, teaching me all the different things. It's important to understand the tools and like the things that Robert's talking about, the new announcements and the new features in the G Plus app, or, it can be overwhelming to know everything that Casey knows. But the good thing is we're a team and we do this together. So we're not supposed to do this and have to know everything by ourselves. But I remember when I first got in contact with my mentor, the guy that kind of showed me the way, and it really did change my life years ago. I talked about the story in the past about meeting him and him telling me that, there was no excuses and he didn't want to waste his time and all that type of stuff. But what he did next was, this is the first time I'd met him. I knew who he was. I knew he was a multimillionaire and successful. I was, 26 years old. And so, I was looking for some mentorship, and he basically wrote a phone number on a piece of paper. Back when we used to do not Zoom calls like this, but more conference calls, back in the conference call era instead of the video conferencing era. And he slid this number over to me, and he said, "All right, I want you to have 10 people on this call on this number tomorrow at 2 p.m." Now, he had just told me that, he didn't want to waste his time. He asked me if I was committed. He told me he didn't want any excuses. And then he hands it over to me. At this point, I had a different business I was running. 2 p.m. is the middle of the day. That's a terrible time to try to get people on a call, is what I thought. And it was already like 10 p.m. at night. So I couldn't do anything that night, really. It was already kind of late. And so I got up early that next morning. I went to the office to do business, try to get on top of things. And then as it is getting closer to that 2 p.m. time frame, I started calling. I was calling people, trying to get people on. He wanted me to have 10 people on there. And I didn't. I had 1 or 2 people committed, and I was getting nervous because here's this multimillionaire that I felt like was giving me a chance to go out there and do something. He was giving me a chance to go out there and do it. And I didn't want to blow it. And as we were getting closer to this time frame, I started just calling, friends, and said, I called one of my cousins and I said, "Here, this is something that I'm kind of excited. Just do me a favor and stick your ear to the phone." And he said, "Okay, I would." So I just called people that I knew would do it for me because I didn't want to look bad. I told them no pressure whatsoever. And there wasn't. I just didn't want to look bad for this guy. So 2 p.m. comes along. I get 10 people on the call, miraculously. My mentor gets on and shares with people what we were doing. And by the time the call was over, I started getting calls back from people that had got on there, for me. And out of those 10 people, 9 of them wanted to team up with us. 9 of them wanted to be a part of that opportunity. And that changed my mindset forever, because I didn't know anything. I'd met the guy not even 24 hours before that. I didn't know much about the company. I didn't know much about the opportunity. All I knew is that a lot of people had seen success. This was a multimillionaire, and he was willing to show me. And it changed my life because action took place. If he would have asked me, "Byron, when do you think we should do a call?" I would have said, let's see. Let me call a few people and I'll let you know. If he would have put it into my hands, that probably would have never happened, and we wouldn't be talking today. But because of the fact that he put something out there and I had to act towards it, and I put effort, and I wasn't the message. I was just the messenger. I was just pointing. There were 9 people now that were part of this group when, like I said, 24 hours before, I didn't even know what it was. And it was crazy to me. And I know that's not typical, but that's what happened to me. I know when you get 10 people to look at something, you don't usually get 9 of them to do it, but that's what happened. And I learned later that that's not always the statistics that you have, but that's what happened to me. And that changed my life forever. And so action is always going to equal something greater and be multiplied by the opportunity, by the trends, by the timing, by the team. But it can't be multiplied if we don't take that action. And right now, every single one of us, I feel like we need a multiplier in our lives. We've all done that before. We've all tried to trade time for money. Yeah, I don't care how much money you make on a monthly basis. There's still, or an hourly basis, there's only so many hours in a day. And you're not always going to be able to do that. And so if you're trading time for money, there's going to be, there's a cap. But when you can have a multiplier where your time, your energy, your effort can be multiplied by major trends, by huge impact, by the ability of what we're doing here. As this community grows, what's going to happen to the community? What's going to happen possibly to the token? What's going to happen to the value of all the node owners? What's going to happen to this ecosystem and all of the data that we're able to accumulate? It's a massive, massive multiplier. And so if we want to compress time and activity into being able to multiply that for our future, you've got to find that right scenario. And out of all of the different things, I know that you're here because you see the potential in what we're doing. I know that you're on this call because you believe in what Galvan's mission is. It resonates with you. I know you're here because you see the future and where things are going. And that's why you're here. But guess what? You wouldn't be here if somebody didn't invite you to look. You wouldn't be here if nobody said anything to you. And so, as we're looking at this month and as we're looking at, creating that momentum in your community, it always starts first in a team or a community, and then it expands into a state or a region, and then it goes global. And that momentum happens in small groups at first, and then larger groups after. And I've watched it happen again and again and again over the couple of decades that I've been doing this in different countries. It doesn't matter what country, what language. I've watched it happen. And those are the components but action has to take place, and it's consistent. When we go out there and we look at what we want to accomplish this month, we look at the digital gym memberships and we see the people that are benefiting from them. I mean, I just went out there last month. Of course, I bought the $500 digital gym membership. Okay, the $500 gym membership, I just got $167 in eyes rewards. That's like more than a fourth of what I spent. Now, obviously, I'm going to hold them, but I got a fourth of what I spent in a month, and that's crazy. If people are doing something, I go to the gym anyway. If people are doing something anyway, if they have a membership anyway, and now we can show them how we can make it valuable to them and put things back in their control and reward them. Why wouldn't somebody want to do that? The only reason that people don't do it is if they don't know about it. And so, like I said, this is not going to be able to happen forever. You can't spend $500 and make $167 back in a month in tokens. That's not going to happen forever, but it's happening for, the 150 people that do that legendary membership. For those people that can. And so that's the beauty of what we're talking about right now. We just need to invite, and we need to focus on that, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? If we don't have that passion, why would they have the passion? If we don't have the urgency, why would they have the urgency? And so it's all going to always start with us. And that's what we need to focus on as we're looking at all of these things that can happen in front of us. The number one thing, and I learned this a long time ago I would always ask people that, I'd seen success, that were making a lot of money. What was the key thing? What was the key aspect that they needed to learn? How were they able to see success? I always wanted to learn those tips. And one of the things that I heard again and again and again is the number one skill for people that want to see success in anything is inviting. It's because if nobody sees what you're doing, if nobody knows what's taking place, how are they going to be a part of it? They're not going to be a part of it. And so the key is going out there and making sure that we're doing our part, that we're inviting. And if we had to be an expert inviter and nothing else, that alone can be that multiplier in the platform that we have right now, in the community that we're building right now, that can change lives for so many people in the future. And like I said, I've watched it happen. I watched it happen in the past. There would be certain people when I traveled around the world. It didn't matter what country I was in. I would see similar faces. They would travel and follow me. And why would they follow me? Because in their mind, they said, I can't do anything except for really invite. I know if I get people here, they're going to see the vision. You're going to share with them. And my job's going to be easier. Yeah, I might have to travel a little bit, but guess what? All I had to do was invite and get them there. And then they saw what it was and they wanted to move forward. See, this is a team. If you think you have to do it all by yourself, then we know we're doing it wrong, because you don't have to do this all by yourself. That's the beauty of working together as a team, is just that. This is, we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. This is a team approach and a team effort in everything that we're doing here, which only is going to make all of us stronger. So one of the things that I want to share as we're talking about inviting here, let's see, I'm going to pull up my screen. So I want to share because we are doing a couple of calls this week, and I want to challenge everybody to invite. I mean, okay, what's the difference this this week compared to other weeks compared to whatever? Well, we're always doing presentations, but are we inviting? Are we utilizing them, or are we just letting it go by? Okay, so this week, tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we're going to be doing an overview, wellness to wealth, how to get paid by for getting healthy. We're going to talk about and getting paid and getting rewarded. It's not just cash. We can get paid in relationships that we build, in mental wellness that we gain. It's not just money. And that's what I love about this. True wealth isn't money. True wealth is so much more than just cash. Okay, but we're doing a presentation tomorrow at 6 p.m. and then on Thursday at noon Mountain Time. So I'm telling you this because just like I experienced, as I say this, guess what we can do about it? We can do nothing about it. We can say, okay, well, they did a presentation. They're probably going to do presentations in the future. Okay, but that's not how we compress time. That's not how we utilize a multiplier. Just thinking, okay, well, that's for me and that's not for me. I've watched this happen so many times where, there's opportunities and there's meetings, and at first people plug into them, and then it turns into, they stop doing the things that got them where they got. And I've seen this time and time again. So what I want to emphasize today is there's two opportunities. One, you want to make sure that you're on there. If you can, if you're in that time zone. And two, you want to have people on there with you, because we're going to talk about the digital gym memberships. We're going to do all of that information to make it easier. If you don't know how to share it, if you don't know exactly what to do, get them on a call. Get them the tools, get them in front of it. But if another week just passes by and we don't take advantage of these tools, then how do we expect the community to grow? Well, here's the thing. The community is going to grow, but how much of that community do you want to contribute to it? How much community of this community and the blockchain that we're building, how much of that do you want to be tied to you generationally? Generationally. This is something that we're going to tell our grandchildren about in the future of what we were a part of. I mean, this is something that really is legendary. And guys, I've been in this marketing and entrepreneur industry for a long time, and there's a ton of hype, right? People are always trying to hype us up on something or get us excited about something. But we're all here because, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen the stars line up where we have a chance to win multiple ways and help people and bless people's lives along the way. I mean, I've never seen that. So I just want to challenge every single one of you. I'll pull that back up. The QR code that you have on there, we'll also send out the link, but the QR code that was on that picture, on that image, gets you to the where the presentation is going to be held. It's not, you don't have to register. You just click on this when the time is right and it will start. So if you were to click on that now, obviously the host hasn't started the meeting yet, because it is going to be, we wanted to make this simple. You don't have to register. You basically click on that and you're good to go. So we'll get that information out to everybody, but tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. and then on Thursday at noon. And let's take advantage of these things. We're going to, like I said, be going over the digital gym memberships, how to utilize them. We're going to talk about the whole flow and the whole funnel. But it doesn't matter what the step 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are if we don't do step 1, and that is invite. Step 1 is always the key to get things started. So my challenge to everyone is, if we want the same thing to happen last month then that happened to us last month and happen again, then just do the same thing you did before. If you want a different result this month, you have to do something different. You can't do the same thing that you did last month or the month before and expect a different result. It's only going to be different if we do something different. And as you've heard me say many a times, our time is like a recipe, and we get out of it what we put into it. We want to change that recipe. We change the ingredients, and those ingredients are how we spend our time. And I've watched myself and so many other people throughout the years change that recipe just a little bit. and be able to multiply the energy, effort that they put into things because they did have the right scenario. And that's exactly where we're at right now. It's exactly what we're doing. And so we can talk about it or we can do it, and that's the difference. So, I just want to wrap up, and then we're going to get into this raffle with one last story. And this was an individual who was making over 6 figures a month, golfed over 300 days a year, had a private plane. And he loved to golf. That's what he did. He flew around the nation and golfed. And, but that's where his passion was. And it took him, not a year or two, it took multiple years. And I remember asking him, "Hey, what was your secret? What was your secret to success?" Like I told you, I like to ask everybody that I've seen that has done something. They can give me that nugget of information. And he said something that was similar to something I'd heard already, but he validated it once again. And maybe you've heard this, but this is what he said to me. He said, "I just stood up one time more than I got knocked down. I went out there and talked to people, and I got discouraged. I got knocked down, and I stood up. And then I kept doing it, and I got knocked down, and I stood up. And I kept doing it, except for one time when I stood up, I didn't get knocked down again, and he broke through. And, he's still, like I said, somebody that's over $1 million a month or a year earner. He's been making over 6 figures a month for well over a decade now. And it's because he stood up one more time than he got knocked down. And he was just consistent. And so we need to, once again, go out there and put that effort into something that can multiply our energy and effort. And Galvan can do that. Galvan can do that for all of us because of the platform, because of blockchain, because of the empowerment, because of the ownership, because of everything that this stands for. So we've got a window of opportunity. What are we going to do about it? So it's time to act and invite. And let's go out there and have an amazing month. Let's go do something different than you've done before. Let's have a better month than you've had before because you took actions that you didn't take before and you were more consistent than you were before. And you watch those results and then you'll become a believer, in that. And, like I said, that's what I've seen and that's what I've experienced. And I've watched so many other people along the way, do that. There is no secret bullet. I guess that's it. There is no, I think people think there's something that nobody's telling everybody. That's the hidden secret. That's basically it. Being consistent and going out there and inviting. So thinking of that and doing that, let's plug in this week and I'll do my part. Okay, you do your part, you get people on the call. I'll do my part. Okay, and my part is, we'll share it. We'll share the message. We'll give people the vision. Some people will see and some people won't, and it's okay. And if they don't, guess what? This is me. People always ask me, should I focus on the G Plus app? Should I focus on digital gym memberships? Should I focus on nodes? What should I focus on? I always focus on the thing that I think is going to be the most valuable for them, and that is to be able to have a node, to be a part of the community, to be a part of the collective and do all these different things. I'm always going to talk about that. Now, what if they don't want to do that? I can always go back and say, okay, well, let's at least get you a wallet. I want to get you some token. Hey, how about you try this digital gym membership then? I'm going to find something else that works for them. Let's get you this product, or let's do this. Let's get you on the G Plus app. If you're already getting your heart minutes, let's make sure you get rewarded for them. But I always start and I kind of go back that way. I don't know. That's just my approach. I know some people go the other way around where you get a customer and they go the other way, and you can. You go from top down or bottom up, either way. But the main thing is just going out there and doing it. So let's see who this week's winner is as far as those that have swapped. This is something that I've loved that we've been doing this the last couple of months. And we've been giving people extra opportunities to have their eyes doubled as they go out there and do this. So let's see here. Okay. I want to make sure I don't get remember last time I got the ads, right? Make sure I get the right one. Okay. So I'm pulling up the randomizer and we're going to see here who the lucky number or the winner is. Okay. Let's see who the winner is this last week. Boom. Number 20. Case. Who is lucky number 20? figure that out.
Jerry,
Jerry,
Jerry won.
congratulations. You, I know Jerry's been pretty consistent in swapping just about every week. I love seeing that. Congrats, Jerry. So whatever you swapped, I don't know if it was $10 worth of eyes. I don't know if it was $100 worth of eyes. All I know is it just got doubled. So congratulations, Jerry, on doing that, getting out there and making it happen. And let's go out there and have an amazing week. Let's go do that. Just a second here. I think Case was asking me for that. I think you wanted to see that link again, Case. Is that what you're saying? Let's see if I can put it in the chat. Let's see if I can grab this real quick.
Oh, I was just going to say, we will add, we can email that out in our upcoming newsletter. We will also be sending that out onto the Galvan calendar, and we'll be posting it in Connect. So if you guys need the link to that, and that's where you're finding our events, we'll have that updated in a few.
Perfect. No, thank you. I was just thinking here too. Let's see if we needed to. I can throw it. I just want to go find it. Give me 2 seconds. I can throw it in the chat here too as well. Let's see here. But we'll get you the details, or at least that's the link. So you have the link. Once again, the time frames, as we heard, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So adjust for your time zone. And then Thursday at noon, 12 p.m. Mountain Time. So whether you're in Europe or whether you're in, the other side of the world, Asia, one of those times should hopefully work for you. And obviously the US, those times should work for you. So thank you all for hopping on today. Let's go out there and have an amazing week. It's time to take Galvan to that next level. That's exactly what we're going to do as we're getting ready for the cruise, as we're getting ready for some future trips. And we're going to be getting in front of a lot of people in the next couple of weeks, which I'm really, really excited about. So let's all do our part with these calls and everything else that's going on, and just wish you all the best. Let's go out there, have an amazing week. I'm Byron Belka, and I'm a Galvanator. Take care. We'll see you.
Galvanize the world, feel the light. With every healthy choice, it feels so right. Data in our hands, we hold the key. A future built on trust and integrity.